Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dr. Jason Jones back with another episode of Health Made Easy. And today's topic is going to be a little bit heady, maybe not all that easy, but I think super duper relevant to so many people out there because so many people are exhausted, they're fatigued, they just don't have the energy that they want. And depending on the time that you're listening to this, you may be coming out of the lockdown from the pandemic, and you haven't been to the gym in a while, or maybe you haven't been as active and the diet hasn't been as good, and you're looking to get some more energy. And today, what we're going to talk about is how does our body actually produce energy? And like I said, this one's going to be a little bit heady. Just kind of hang in there. It'll be worth the listen for sure. Because oftentimes, we need and we want the energy, but we may wonder, how does our body actually produce the energy that we need for our daily activities or even our metabolism? Well, no doubt your body produces energy in many different forms. We're going to primarily focus on what's called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which you don't need to remember that. And this is the energy used to fuel basically all the cells in the body and the function of the three major, and basically function in three major ways, including the fact that ATP is necessary for mineral substances to go between cell membranes. So you have about 10 trillion cells to 70 trillion cells, depending on who you listen to. And in between each of those cells, you have little membranes that open and close, and things like potassium and magnesium go in and out of there. ATP is also essential for the synthesis of chemical compounds like cholesterol and proteins. It is also used as a major source of energy for mechanical work like muscular function. So when you go to the gym, you work out, you lift weights, you do those kinds of things, or some heavy lifting, or whatever you may do on your job, you need ATP for that. So our bodies produce ATP in several different ways, but we're just going to focus on four major mechanisms. Primarily, one that's called glycolysis, beta-oxidation, oxidative phosphorylation, and aerobic respiration. And I wasn't trying to get them all to rhyme, but I did. And these four systems use different starting fuels to provide ATP at different rates and vary based on whether they use oxygen or not. So glycolysis is one of the major ways our bodies produce energy, and it occurs in almost all cells. This process involves the breakdown of one molecule of glucose into two molecules of ATP. So think about taking a sugar and breaking it down into energy, and that ATP is broken down into two molecules, but also two molecules of what's called pyruvic acid. You don't need to remember that either. But essentially, the process is anaerobic, so no oxygen, and it uses stored sugar in the muscle or in the liver in a concentrated form called glycogen, and then that energy is produced and then used by various systems of the body. Beta-oxidation is the next one. The body also breaks down fats to produce energy, and that's what beta-oxidation is. Fat's a very good source of energy and consists of what's called a glycerol backbone with 2 to 3 fatty acids connected to it. And fat is a great source of energy because it burns much longer. It's kind of like a log on a fire, whereas sugar is more like a twig, if you will. So when you eat healthy fats, the body absorbs the fat, and then it breaks off those fatty acids. And this is a very slow system that takes place, really deep down in sort of what's called the energy powerhouses of the cell, or the mitochondria. And those fats are broken down to produce ATP, which is further synthesized down the line into more and more energy as time goes on. So the body uses this process to produce energy when carbohydrates are not available, like back in the day when it was wintertime and you couldn't get fruit, you couldn't get vegetables, there was no way to get grains or any kind of thing like that. Your body is designed to handle those periods where you don't have carbohydrates. And that's probably one of the things that makes the ketogenic diet so popular, because you can still have really great energy even though you're not eating a lot or any carbohydrates. Next one, oxidative phosphorylation. This one's a mouthful, and the body produces energy through this pathway, and it's a major producer of ATP in our body. In fact, 26 out of 30 molecules of ATP formed from glucose or sugar are generated through this particular pathway. The starting fuels are proteins, carbs, and fats. So when carbohydrates and fats are delivered to the mitochondria, or basically the powerhouse energy part of the cell, they're broken down into to be able to yield more energy through ATP. And there's a whole big mechanism of that with a whole big bunch of words that you can read on my blog that I put on there. Not necessary for this podcast. Just know that most are produced right through there. And then the last one we're going to talk about today is aerobic respiration. So this is a mechanism where our body uses oxygen to burn glucose or burn sugar to produce ATP. Without oxygen, this process converts to anaerobic respiration, which generates 2 ATP compared to the 34 produced through aerobic respiration. So this sugar burning process delivers energy to your body because you certainly need it to be able to live, do your daily activities, your cardiovascular exercise, weightlifting, jogging, running, whatever it is that you want to do. Those are the 4 main ways your body produces ATP for energy. Again, there are other ones. There are other mechanisms. There's so much that we could go into. There's no way we could cover that in a podcast and try to keep it simple and keep it easy for you guys. But this is the backbone for all the things that we're going to cover in the coming weeks. And we're going to talk about how to increase your energy through things like exercise. I'm going to give you guys like the top 7 foods that are best for energy and the top 5 supplements for energy as well. So I hope this helped you. Definitely check out the podcasts coming up on energy. You are not going to want to miss those, and we'll see you guys on the next one. See you later. Bye-bye.